Hello, it's Sunday, October 27th, and I'm Tony Christopher, financial analyst at UFX Markets Trading Support Center. This is your week in review. Today we will discuss some of the major financial events of the past week and how they impacted the currency and commodity markets. In currencies news, worse than expected economic data from the U.S. caused the U.S. dollar to fall against the euro for the second straight week. The U.S. dollar hit a two-year low against the euro in response to slumping consumer confidence and discouraging jobs data. There is widespread speculation among investors that the disappointing economic data from the U.S. will convince the Federal Reserve to maintain the current pace of the bond purchasing program. The euro was last trading against the U.S. dollar at the level of 1.3805, which is an increase of 0.03%. The Australian dollar fell for the first time in nearly a month as home prices in four major Chinese cities rose to their highest level since January of 2011, triggering concern that property bubbles are forming in China, Australia's most important trading partner. Among investors, there is speculation that the government of China will tighten economic policy should inflation accelerate. The Australian dollar was last trading against the U.S. dollar at the level of 0.9583, which is a decrease of 0.39%. The Canadian dollar hit a 7-week low against the U.S. dollar as the Bank of Canada announced on October 23rd that it had cut its growth forecast for 2013 from 1.8% to 1.6%. The slumping price of crude oil, the country's most important export, further contributed to the slide of the Canadian dollar. The Canadian dollar was last trading against the U.S. dollar at the level of 1.0449, which is an increase of 0.28%. Widespread speculation that discouraging economic news from the U.S. will convince the Federal Reserve to maintain the current pace of the bond purchasing program triggered a rise in gold futures, which advanced to their highest level in a month. Investors sought out gold as a safe haven asset after the release of two important economic reports, one of which showed that orders to manufacturers fell unexpectedly in September, while the other showed that consumer sentiment in the U.S. is at a 10-month low. Gold was last trading at the level of 1348.20, which is an increase of 0.13%. On Friday, crude oil rose for a second straight day, pairing a series of 6 declines in 7 weeks, in response to gaining U.S. stocks and news that durable goods orders had hit a 3-month high. Prices climbed by 0.8% after the U.S. Commerce Department announced that booking for durable goods had increased by 3.7%. The Standard & Poor's 500 index recorded its third straight weekly gain after Amazon and Microsoft released better-than-expected earnings reports. However, rising U.S. crude oil inventories, which last week climbed to 379.8 million barrels, indicate a bearish market for crude oil, which capped its third weekly loss. WTI crude oil was last trading at the level of 97.85, which is an increase of 0.76%. Well, that's our summary of the financial headline from the past week. We hope that you've enjoyed this week's review and that you'll tune in tomorrow morning as we kick off the new trading week with the latest top market news. Until then, be sure to log into ufxmarkets.com for all of your trading needs. Your personal account manager is ready to answer all of your questions. UFX Markets Trading Support Center wishes you a successful trading week.